Chief of Strategic Management and Partnerships for the Chicago Housing Authority. CHA is considering working with a developer known as Ogden Commons Joint Venture LLC to bring new affordable housing units to North Lawndale as part of a development called Ogden Commons Phase A1, located at 1330 South Tallman and 1327 South Washtenaw. This new construction family property will include 110 total units, 44 of which may be CHA-funded project-based voucher units, and would be available for occupancy by CHA applicants. If approved, Ogden Commons is expected to be available for occupancy in the spring of 2023. In advance of that date, CHA is seeking input on the draft tenant selection plan and lease, house rules, and assistive animal policy for this property from prospective tenants and other interested parties before these documents are finalized and submitted to CHA's Board of Commissioners for approval. The draft tenant selection plan, lease, and other relevant documents are available for review on CHA's website at www.thecha.org. At this time, I would like to introduce Charlton Hamer, Senior Vice President, and Gabriela Flores, Director of Compliance for the Habitat Company, who will provide an overview of this project and the tenant selection plan and lease.
So, good afternoon. Again, my name is Charlton Hamer. I'm Senior Vice President, Habitat Affordable Group with the Habitat Company. Gabriela Flores, who's here with me, is our Director of Compliance with the Habitat Company. I'll provide a brief overview of the project itself, kind of how we got here, and Gabriela will go into further detail in regards to our occupancy opportunities here under the tenant selection plan, or a TSP is the acronym that you'll hear mostly from her. So with that, back in 2017, the Habitat Company, with its joint venture partners, Sinai Health Systems and Cinespace Studios, responded to a request for proposal, solicitation for proposals from the Chicago Housing Authority for the old Lawndale Gardens complex. Subsequent to our response, which was competitive, the Ogden Commons JV, which I just named the partners, was awarded the development rights to the project. So the project itself, the initial offering was a total of 5 acres. The joint ventureship brought another 5 acres. 5 plus 5 is 10 acres in total, which is the expanse of the project as far as the land is concerned. The proposal itself consisted of a large mixed-use redevelopment, both residential and commercial. Residential properties encompass approximately 380 to 400 units in total, again, mixed income over several different building types, as you can see on the screen here. Commercial portion, which will be located primarily along Ogden Avenue, will consist of about 140,000 square feet of commercial and retail space. This is a $200 million, or approximately $200 million investment in the area over several phases. The first phase, which we are going to talk about here today, primarily the residential, dealing with the TSP, is really in two portions, both a commercial portion and a residential portion. As you see here on your screen to the right is a 52,000 square foot building, which is complete. Building is complete, the parking is in place, the landscaping is in place, as you see it on the screen today. And our tenants, which is Sinai Health System on the second and third floor of the building, Ja Grill, which is a restaurateur, Jamaican cuisine, Steak and Shake, Momentum Coffee, and Wintrust Bank are currently in the building, improving their units, and I expect Wintrust Bank to be open within the next 2 weeks regarding operations. Second portion of this phase, of course, is what we're calling the A1 residential, which is mixed use. It's to the right of your screen. You'll see the two buildings that are there. The A-shaped building is a four-story a building mid-rise, which will encompass approximately 92 units. There will also be a management office there, along with community space and resident services space. The second building, which is at the bottom of the screen, which is actually west of that property, will encompass approximately 18 units. Both buildings in total, there will be a total of 110 units. They will include studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, and primarily 2s and 3s in the building that is to the west or to the bottom of your screen. Those will be the larger units. This is approximately a $40 million total development cost. We're in the process of shoring up our sources as I speak, and we expect to close. This will be a 4% LIHTC deal with tax-exempt bonds. We're working with IDA on this again currently, and we expect to close by the end of this year. So I will pass it along to Gabriella to go into detail in regards to the tenant selection plan.
Thank you, Charlton. Just to reiterate, so this tenant selection plan covers specifically Ogden Commons residential, the A1 phase, which consists of 110 units, 4% tax credit deal with 44 RAD subsidized units. 11 of the units are unrestricted market rate units. The maximum income requirements for the 99 tax credit units is 60% of the annual median income, and the minimum income requirement is 2.5 times the monthly rental amount, which would cover the tax credit only with no subsidy and the market rate units. The application fees are a $50 non-refundable application fee per adult household member, and there are admin fees in lieu of security deposit and shall not exceed $250. Credit check is required for all household members age 18 and older, including live-in aides. No delinquency in excess of $1,000 within the past 2 years is allowed. Of course, mitigating circumstances will apply and will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. Any applicants who owe funds or judgment debts to any utility company or cannot obtain utility connections will be denied. We will review on a case-by-case basis any mitigating circumstances. No debts owed or funds or judgments to any, any debts to any public housing agencies, you will be not denied if there are any debts outstanding. Any bankruptcy filings within the last 3 years must be discharged with no new negative credit, and any mitigating circumstances will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. Regarding any residential history, we will review over a 3-year period. We will take a look at housekeeping habits and to determine if anything adversely affects the health, safety, or welfare of others. Any evictions within the past 3 years are subject to rejection, and any records of disturbances of neighbors or destruction of property, physical violence, etc., will be reviewed as well. No verification of school enrollment is required. However, children living in the development must be adequately supervised. RAD units are subject to a 30-hour weekly work requirement. There are exemptions that apply to that, and we will follow the admin plan. Tax credit and market rate units, those tax credit units with no subsidy do have the same work requirement or sufficient income at least 2.5 times the monthly rental amount. Criminal history will be reviewed for the past 3 years. Any drug-related criminal activity is subject to rejection. And any criminal activity involving a weapon is subject to rejection. Any criminal activity involving arson, subject to rejection, and registered sex offenders will be rejected as well. Ogden Commons is a smoke-free development, so smoking is prohibited in all indoor areas. There will be designated smoking areas 15 feet from the building entrances. And Ogden Commons does have a pet policy. All pets must be licensed in accordance with City of Chicago laws. Pets must be housebroken, and no more than 2 pets are allowed in one unit. And registration must be updated annually, along with a $200 pet fee. Thank you.
Thank you. As I mentioned before, this presentation, the draft tenant selection plan and lease, as well as directions for submitting comments and other relevant documents related to this project are available on CHA's website at www.thecha.org. If you have questions or comments about the tenant selection plan and lease or other documents, you can email them to comment@thecha.org or fax them to 312-913-7837 until June 18th. And again, these instructions are also available on CHA's website. CHA will post any comments and questions that we receive and our responses on the website as we receive them. As I previously mentioned, Ogden Commons is not yet available for occupancy. If approved, Ogden Commons will be added to CHA's site-based waitlist portal when it is nearing completion, and applicants will be able to sign up for the waitlist at that time. Thank you.